Reelworld Film Festival is a nonprofit groundbreaking initiative in Canada that empowers racially diverse Canadians to create and tell their own stories and see themselves reflected on and off screen. Tonya Williams, the founder of the film festival, joins us along with producer and director Alison Duke. Good morning, both. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you via Skype. Now, Tonya, when this thing started, you were a busy actress as Dr. Olivia Barber on The Young and the Restless, and you came up with this idea for Reelworld Festival. Was it 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, and I would say I was a successful actress, and then I started Reelworld. But it's
and
been
still
a joy.
Successful.
Running it as executive director now for the past 20 years. I find it really rewarding. I absolutely love it. And I think film festivals, which I've been going to since I was 17 years old, are the perfect ground to be able to not just show your work, but to meet people and to get ideas and be with like-minded artists. And it was the one initiative that I thought would be the best to help our community in Canada.
Yeah. Let's talk about, there's been a seismic shift in terms of representation in film. But let's go back to when you started this thing 20 years ago. Much different story, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very different story. You know, for me, when I go back to the late 70s when I started my career. And I never saw anyone that looked like me on screen. And even when I started working, I would be the only one on set in front of or behind the cameras that looked like me. So we've come a long way, but I think my frustration really boiled by the year 2000 when I saw so many Black, Indigenous, and people of color coming to me for advice, but the advice wasn't about how to make it in the industry in Canada. The advice was only, how do I get to the US where the opportunities are? And we were getting such a brain drain from great talent that was succeeding in America, but not getting any opportunity in Canada. So that was really a driving force for me.
Yeah, Alison, did you face the same challenges as a filmmaker?
Yes, you know, when the festival started, I actually directed my first film with the National Film Board, and it was called Raising Cain, a Rapumentary, and I was trying to show how hip-hop artists, Black young men in the Canadian music industry, were trying to make it, and there was no Black radio at the time, so they were trying to make it like, you know, the mainstream talent, and so I made this film about that, and you know, it actually won Reelworld Film Festival, and it toured the world, and it launched my career as a documentary filmmaker.
So wow, so yeah, a great launch pad for you because you've won so many awards since, and you have a new entry which has won a number of awards. Tell me about Promise Me. This is it's not a sequel, but it was inspired by one of your previous films.
Yes, Promise Me is based on true events. It's a really touching story about a mother and daughter trying to survive, and it shows the intersectionality of race, health, the educational system, and child welfare. And so if people want to get a sense of what you know, anti-Black racism looks like in Toronto, in Canada today, they can look at this film and get a good idea of how it operates.
Okay, we'll certainly put the link at chh.com so people can find out about screenings with the Reelworld Film Festival to check out Promise Me. And we'll get more details here in a second, but I want to ask both of you, with the positive changes that we have seen recently, the Oscars, for example, came down with hard rules about underrepresented groups and stories to tell. So we are going to see that change. Is enough change being made in the Canadian industry? How far forward or how much work still has to be done?
Alison, I'll let you go first.
Well, that's a great question. You know, there's always work to be done, but I do see a seismic change. I don't know if it's because of the social justice movement, the Me Too movement, the trying to get more women behind the camera movement that's sort of like colliding together. And people are saying, look, enough is enough. We just need broad sweeping changes in the industry, and that means looking at diverse talent. Since you know, all of this has sort of, you know, happening this year in 2020 with all these different things happening, I've been getting a lot of calls about, you know, calming projects, supporting young filmmakers. So it's a great time right now to be a diverse talent.
Okay,
and you know,
Go ahead,
You know, I
Tonya.
was just going to say too, a lot of changes have come, but when you've been in the industry 45 years, that like I have, you wonder why it's taken so long. And I think the thing that, because as a Canadian, and because I live in Los Angeles and I live in the States, Canada should be at the forefront of all of these things. I never understand. We shouldn't be announcing why, you know, America's done this, you know, the Academy there, or UK has done that.
Right.
We should be at the forefront of all of this. We're always boasting about the amazing diversity that Canada has, the amazing talent, but we don't seem to go on the world stage to announce these things. And I think we should be teaching the world how diversity should work. And we seem to be behind the ball, always in a catch-up state. So we need to get very proactive, I think.
Okay, so we just have a few seconds left, but again, now we'll put the link to the Reelworld Festival at chch.com, but this obviously is virtual, so basically we can purchase screenings. How do we view Promise Me and other films, and how many films are there?
Well, we've got 38, I believe now, all Canadian films by Black, Indigenous, people of color. You just go to reelworld.ca. You can see the entire program line up there, and you buy your pass. And once you buy your pass, then it activates it October 14th when we launch the festival, the 14th to the 19th. And that pass allows you to see everything sort of video on demand, but it also allows you to see it at suggested times so that you can watch the live Q&A with the filmmakers after the screenings. And let's not forget our industry panels. Our industry panels are free and to anyone worldwide. So that'll be, there are links on the website as well. So register and sign up for that.
Fantastic. All the best with the Reelworld Film Festival. Tonya Williams and Alison Duke.
Stop.